The potential impact of Brexit and the importance of providing a hard border to all of our people on this island, but in particular those of us living on border counties like myself, cannot be underestimated. And I very much welcome the fact that this government and the ministers are very much and acutely conscious and aware of this issue. We can all agree in this House that the invisible border is the most tangible symbol and gain of the peace process, allowing relationships and communities to rebuild and reflourish following years of conflict. Indeed, for 30 or 40 years, as I have lived in County Louth, where there was civil strife and trouble, when you couldn't go north without being stopped by police or by soldiers, and there was loss of life, civil unrest and violence all around us. And thankfully, the devastation, both human and economic, which was caused by that violence, ended with the Good Friday Agreement and with the cooperation, north and south, and with the absence of a hard border. That's why our countries and our counties have flourished. And if I look at County Louth, I look at Dundalk and in County Down, the town of Newry. Both of those towns were devastated economically and politically as a result of the violence. And since then, they have flourished and are now boom towns on a boom economy. The invisible border, facilitates a frictionless cross-border trade. 7,000 firms trade across that border from north to south, supporting over 160,000 jobs. This trade is very crucial, particularly crucial for SMEs in Northern Ireland, almost three-quarters of whom rely on Ireland as their first export market. I believe that it is very significant that many in the business community in Northern Ireland, including the Ulster Farmers Union, have spoken out publicly in support of the withdrawal agreement and the protocols reached between the EU and the UK, recognising that it provides the certainty required for them to operate as operators, as well as the clarity needed to allow the peace process to move forward. North-South cooperation, both formal and informal, is also a very practical outworking of the peace process, which allows for the normalisation of relationships between people across the island to everybody's mutual benefit. Businesses and communities, lives and livelihoods have developed and prospered, while people crossing the border unimpeded every day to work, study, visit family and connect with their local communities. What is really extraordinary is just how ordinary it has become to cross what was once a heavily securitized border. And over the past 20 years or so, it has become a routine part of life. And every month, there are almost 2 million cars crossing both north and south. The sheer normality of all these simple and mundane contacts and connections are integral to our communities in border regions and to harnessing all of the opportunities for peace. Indeed, I often point out to the interconnected and symbiotic relationship between peace and prosperity. Peace in prosperity is what we have had. Peace and prosperity both sides of the border. Peace and prosperity north and south. That's what this government wants, and that's what I believe our people will continue to support. For these reasons, for the peace, prosperity and the partnership, this government has maintained a policy that an invisible border on this island must remain just that, open and free of any physical infrastructure or associated checks and controls. And all I can say is that we have north and south in this country, new generations of young people, highly educated, highly motivated, who have never known violence, who had free movement to move north and south, to education, to work, to play, to whatever. And it's hugely important that that opportunity continues. And the dark and dismal years which so many of us face for many decades, particularly in our border counties, are forever over and will never come again. Thank you. Last